And since the service requests are new this version, didn't want to show again a pick development. Oops, I meant to pick development. My finger hit the wrong one. And I can go ahead and see another field popped open. For those of you that didn't see that, keep an eye on this area. I've got system accessing and a URL. If I change that back to production, that drop-down is going to disappear. So you're able to now put service requests out here as well as just the common requests that we had in the back before. You can do attachments, I believe, up here, or we can take a photo and attach it here. So if I notice something wrong in the building or something, I take a photo and go ahead and attach it to the ticket and go ahead and save it and submit it just like anything else. I'm not going to bother submitting that one. But I am going to go back out here because I wanted to go briefly into knowledge articles, but I'm going to search for one. I'm going to say I need to put it in my out of office, and I can't. It's been so long, I can't remember how to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and do out of office. I'm going to bring up a knowledge base article, and I bring up the right one here. And mainly I'm doing this just to show you that your knowledge base articles that have graphics in them still visible out on the mobile client, just like in the web client. Just want to reassure anybody who is wondering about that graphics are available. Now I'm betting some of you are seeing something on the screen that you're wondering about, and that's what I want to hit next. Down here, there's a View My CI and Assets. This is only visible on the mobile client. It's not yet visible on the web client. But this is where your users can see what assets are associated with them. They can come in here, and I've got a Dell laptop. I can go look at some more details, see the details behind it. So this is something people have been asking about, to let clients know what assets they're associated with. I can filter it down if I want with that little filter thing in the top right. I don't have so many that I need to worry about that. But if users are wondering if they have access to particular assets, or maybe what assets are assigned to them, because maybe, I don't know, maybe they won the lottery and they know they're going to be leaving the job, they need to make sure they return all the assets that are assigned to them, they can actually see this here. So CIs and assets are available on the mobile client, not yet available on the self-service portal on the web page. Conversely, that service health we saw earlier is available on the web page and not on the mobile app. BMC has reassured me that while they can't talk about futures, that is something they would like to make all of these available on all interfaces. But at the moment, that is the difference between the mobile and the full web page. Mobile, you can view your CI and assets. On the full web page, you're going to be able to see service health. So broadcast may still be useful for the people on the mobile devices. So again, more improved self-service on the mobile client using Salesforce One, which I think is, again, another big win. No longer need to worry about multiple mobile clients. Just going to do a quick check and see if we have any questions coming in here. The question is around pre-populating the self-help articles. So Remedyforce comes with a knowledge base structure, but it is empty. So everybody populates the knowledge articles as you go, and you can decide if they're going to be visible in self-service or if they're only going to be visible to the back-end support and change and knock people. So on an article-by-article basis, you can decide which ones you're going to go ahead and put out here. If you do want pre-packaged knowledge packs, RightAnswers does offer that. They have a really nice integration with Remedyforce, and the RightStar partners with RightAnswers on a pretty regular basis. So if you are looking for knowledge packs on out-of-the-box products, definitely talk with your RightStar rep, and we can help you with that. Hopefully that addressed that question. Okay, so now you're wondering, what's next, Dan? What are we getting to next? I think I'm mostly through the self-service pieces, and those are the key things I wanted to hit, right? Service health, smart suggestions in self-service, the mobile capability, and the I forgot what I talked about. Surveys, the other self-service. We've already so I'm moving now to the back end, away from things that are helping your end users and things that are going to work for your support staff. So one of those, like I said, I'm not going to show agent list discovery. If you need the docs link, let us know. We can get that to you. But it is now included, and it'll do the discovery. It does not do any of the management. For the management, you do need the add-on licenses. Okay, this has been one I think customers have been asking about almost since Remedyforce first came out. The idea of being able to have different categories for different objects. Instead of having a category available to incident, problem, change, and release, sometimes there really are categories that are specific to one module. This has, and other things like statuses and things like that, we're able to do it by module, had not been able to do that with category. And now we can. It's a fairly simple thing, but I do want to show it just so you believe us. But basically in Remedyforce administration, when I'm on a category, in this case this is applications, I can see over here on the right what it's going to apply to. That's a big thing that I think customers have been asking for, and BMC's delivered. So really your ideas out there on communities make a difference, and voting for ideas that you like makes a difference as well. So categories, it may seem small, but I know for a lot of you right now you're cheering because you've been trying to set up sharing rules or other things to make that happen. Now you don't have to worry about that. So categories by module. Okay, this is an interesting feature. I say it's interesting because of the way it's implemented. It's something, again, customers have been asking for. Being able to assign tickets to a particular queue without having to build a workflow rule. Those of you who are currently on Remedyforce, I'm betting you have a handful of workflow rules at the very least that say, based upon category, this ticket is going to go to a particular queue. And I bet every single one of you have asked, why can't this be done more data-driven instead of through the workflow rule? In addition, I'm betting there's a lot of you out there who have asked the question about doing round-robin assignments. So when it comes in a particular queue, have it go through the staff members, round-robin, first staff member A, staff member B, then staff member 3. There's been suggestions on how to customize that out there, but now it is part of the base product as well. What I say is interesting about these is one of the reasons we want to get away from workflow rules has to do with some of the Salesforce limits out there. We want to free up workflow rules for things that are more important. So there's a batch process behind the assignment that does the assignment. So when you create a ticket, it doesn't as soon as you save, go to that assigned queue. It's actually going to do it after batch process runs, which is pretty quick. Great for stuff coming in through self-service, something you may need to do a little education of your staff about on the back end to say, when you save a ticket, maybe it'll default to you initially, but give it a minute, it'll end up in the right queue. So I think there'll be a little bit of adjustment on the back end on this one because of how it was implemented, but it absolutely makes sense because it pulls it out of the workflow rules. So how do you set this up? Back in administration, they took the suggested owners that was already in there, right? You could go to a ticket, you go to your menu, you could do suggested owners and see who might be appropriate for that. So they're using that form for the queue assignment. You can still base it on any fields in the incident record, including custom fields. So whatever robust set of criteria you want to assign this, I did it really simple. I just did it up based on category. But based on that category, here's the queue that it should get assigned to. Why I picked Oracle admins? I don't know. I was just frantically searching for a queue, so I picked Oracle admins. But this is a way, again, instead of doing a workflow rule that says if category equals invoice issue, assign the ticket to the Oracle queue. Now it's data-driven. You come into here, you build your rules for all of the suggested owners and queues, and all you have to do is just put in that queue auto assignment, and then it's going to go ahead and run that batch process and get assigned to that queue. So I think that's a nice big advance. But the other big advance is the round robin. So I've gone first to record assignment in my administration console, and I've enabled the queue and user assignment. And then I clicked on staff auto assignment, and here's where I can see if I want to do auto assignment or not. So if I click this box, I want to enable it, I can decide it, and it's going to go to these two round robin. If Emma's on a special project, I can uncheck her so she won't get any of those tickets. Other cool thing about here, and I don't know how many of you are using business hours, but if you go into your setup area and type in business hours or business calendar, something like that, you can get in, you can set up business hours. And now you can have the assignments happen by that. During the day, it goes to the people who have business hours of 9 to 5. During the rest of the time, it's going to go to who's ever 5 to 9 or whatever your other options are. If they overlap, it'll round robin through both groups. So now you can do not just round robin, but round robin through business hours. So I think there's a tremendous amount of effort that went behind this to get this all working, and hopefully it's going to help you all as you're working your tickets to make sure they get to the right place, to the right resource, and make sure the right things happen. I'm not going to say this because I don't really want this in my demo environment for particular reasons of demos. I like to know where it's going, but that is available for those of you in the real world that do need to have that round robin and that auto queue assignment. Get any questions, just go ahead and put them in the Q&A window. Change schedule. There is a bunch of stuff to change schedule, and I hope I remember all of these when I switch back to showing it. It's available in the console, available in CMDB. You can now customize the colors for your change types. That fourth bullet I'm not going to show, but I want to talk to. Normally during the blackout window, you're not able to schedule any changes, right? Because if it's a blackout window, you can't. If it's a grayout window, you can. But if it's a blackout window, you can't. You can now designate that certain people are allowed to schedule emergency changes during those blackout windows. Series of steps you go through, including adding a field and checking a field on their user record. But for those of you that do need the ability to go ahead and put in those change records during the blackout times, you now have the ability to do that. And then finally, filtering. Probably should put filtering up a notch, but we'll look at that as well. So let's go see what this looks like. I'm sitting in my Remedyforce console. I want to know the change calendar. I don't have to go to reports. I don't have to go to my home page. I don't have to open a change. Change schedule is right there. Yay. It's easier for support staff to find out where the change calendar is. In terms of filtering, go ahead and look up there. There's that filter icon again. And now I can filter my change requests by whatever I want to do. I think I want to do, it's not going to change mine much because these all have this configuration item. But I want to show this because I think this is pretty cool. If you're responsible for a particular service and you want to see, the change requests that have that server or service or whatever attached to them, you can go ahead and apply that, and you can start seeing those changes. As it turns out, all three of these changes have the application server with them. So that filter didn't do me a heck of a lot of good, but in the real world, that's going to be an important thing. In terms of changing the colors, I just clicked on that little widget up there. And it's giving me here are the standard colors. If I want to change them, I can go ahead and do that. I'm not really good at colors, so I'm going to leave them alone. But that's how you can go ahead and filter the colors. So I can filter them, filter the changes. I can change the colors. I can get to the change console from my Remedyforce console. I can also, if I'm on the CMDB console, I've got the change calendar right there as well. So I made the change calendar a lot more accessible and more useful with the colors and whatnot. And again, you can now schedule emergency changes. Should have left that up. I was talking about it still. If I wanted to put in a change right here, I can because I did give myself the permission. Anybody else would not have been able to schedule a change between those dates. I think that's pretty useful in terms of the change calendar, in terms of change management, to help you all out as you're doing your change process. And by the way, if you're just kicking off your change process or any of these, you can always contact RightStar. We've got process people in-house. We've got technicians who can help you set things up. I know it can be tough when you're trying to launch into a new area. So if you haven't kicked your change process off yet and you want to, please do contact your RightStar rep, and they'll be happy to talk to you about ways we can help you. Okay, changing, total different topic now. Not on change anymore. We're back to incident. Smart suggestions came out, I think, also last summer, fall timeframe. And if you don't know what those are, you're going to see them in a second. But the idea is, like in the front end, right? When I start typing in as an end user, start typing in my details, it's going to go ahead and pop up suggestions, and in that case, broadcast in some other areas. So that's all part of the system. So you've seen that in SelfService. Well, Smart Suggestions was available on the back end for knowledge articles, templates, and broadcasts as of last fall. What got added in is you now have incident matching as part of the Smart Suggestions.